Kev, what qualities did the Essendon teams of 84 and 85 possess that made them so special?
Oh, definitely they were a very flexible side. They could play in most positions on the ground. That was one of the great strengths of the team that we built from 81, 82 and eventually got to a grand final and smashed by Hawthorn in 83. But the great opportunity was that when Noel Juggins, myself and the selectors, Brian Donahue and that, the club in general knew that we were on the right track, but they had great resilience. They won 16 wins in 81, 16 wins in 82. Finally went about 18 wins in 1983 and got smashed. So by 84 against Hawthorn, they were ready, they were hardened, they were very powerful, strong inner belief in themselves. And even probably down 4 goals, maybe about three-quarter time in 84, they had the belief system that they'd done a lot of hard yards. They won about 68 games by the grand final of 84, and they weren't going to let that last one sit.
How sweet was it that those 2 grand final wins were against Hawthorn?
Oh, look, I thought that was important for us because they've probably been 2 of the quality grand final wins against a great club. I mean, I think at that stage, and Hawthorn have since proved their greatness. They've gone on and won more premierships than others. But, and I don't think anybody's ever beaten Hawthorn in two grand finals, ever. So, historically, it was very, very important for our fans. Because in the end, if you know the challenge is really good, then you've got to actually lift to beat the best club at that time, and the club that had beaten us. So our club lifted right across the board, and but the players were great to coach. You know, we had a lot of players from interstate by then. We went and got players that had in their earlier career been cut off lists, and Darren Williams and Peter Bradbury, these sorts of boys come back into Essendon and really formed a part of a great friendship and camaraderie. And if you get that in your club, I think you've got something going for you.
So we're celebrating these premierships at the club this week. How important is it for the fabric of the club to get these groups of players back together again?
Oh, I think it's important. I think that the past players at Essendon, I just was sitting down with Barry Capiano yesterday, a few days ago, and I mean, they are men of war. They're men out in the playing field that our fans go to see them, and it's the reason I coached Essendon for so long, as the men that I barracked for in the 60s and 50s when I followed the Mighty Bombers. And, you know, when I got to meet them, they were always really good people. And so I thought if I ever get a chance to coach Essendon one day, which was only a dreamland, dream thinking, dream time, which we should never stop dreaming, but in the end I did coach Essendon, and I wanted to make sure that we could build clubs that were as good as, build teams that were as good as the ones that I followed. And, you know, the 60s premiership sides were very, very good, powerful, great kicking side. Jack Clark, you know, Barry Davis, all these boys, you know. When you think back, Bluey Schultz, so I always tried to emulate that side, but obviously with the modern day tact. And against Hawthorn, it was pretty hard because, you know, they had a powerful sort of lineup. I mean, let's face it, Hawthorn cleared 3 top class players out of their club and still become a great club, and that was Gary Ablett, Stuart Lowe, state centre half forward, and a half-back flank that went over to Melbourne. It was a very, very good play. So when you let 3 really good players go, and they're still in 3 grand finals in a row, that's how great a list they had.
All right, Beauty, thanks, Kev. It was a pretty special achievement, and we look forward to celebrating it.
No, well, I think that everybody there that comes along and buys into the night, it's very special because, you know, we've lost a couple already of those boys, particularly Neil Clark and Merv Nagel. And so we're going to really celebrate with them on that night, because we're never to ever forget our fantastic back-to-back premierships here at Bomberland, and particularly in the early 80s.
Good on you, mate.